So last night, after 15 years, the Colonel walks into my office. Made me take a good hard look at myself. Maybe I have hit bottom, and maybe I do look like hell. Lord knows the only exercise I've had lately is tipping the bottle and flipping cards into my hat. I gotta find some work. Contrary to what the Colonel might think, I'm as good a detective as he ever was. Now I just gotta prove it. I'm gonna scare up a job today, even if it means finding somebody's lost puppy. The office was actually a dance studio before I moved in, and Latin dancing is a Murphy family tradition. My old reliable faux oak desk. The stupid light switch is stuck in the on position. Could be worse, I guess. The dusty credenza I've got serves only one purpose, and that's to keep the dust off the floor. Great-great-grandpa Murphy made it through the Depression by teaching cha-cha lessons to rich older women. He made thousands before the authorities found out he had no formal training. Ah, the closet door. All I've ever needed was a soft felt fedora, a well-tailored overcoat, and a comfy pair of sneakers. Some people know what they like, and they stay with it. My gun. I love it so much! My old trusty sidearm. Been with me since the beginning. You want some of this, huh? Bam, bam! Hey, bam, bam, bam! Bam! Bam, bam! Bam! And you!
Hey, Sonny, can you help me out? My girlfriend threw my gun out of the window. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just pick it up and, hey, don't point that thing up here. That's not a toy, you know.
Oh my hell. No matter how bad things got, I always had my gun. Now I've lost that too. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those days. I call this painting, The Big Spill. Well, since the building inspector has only one eye and no depth perception, the hotel manager painted fire extinguishers in all the apartments. Saved him a bundle. That's a perfect bed for a destitute PI. Small, lightweight, no sheets required. Another pile of garbage. There just aren't enough hours in the day. That hutch holds a life's worth of knickknacks, paddywhacks, and the world's largest piece of elbow macaroni. This piece of art is called Two Whales on a Bender. This pure mountain spring water is indispensable, literally. I'm out of paper cups. My phonograph's an old family heirloom. I love to play the classics, Kool and the Gang, Peaches and Herb. That's the door to the street. Oh boy, mail.
Grand reopening sale. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. the electronic shop will open its newly remodeled store and offer a veritable bonanza of bargains. Dongles, fax machines, remote controls, wide stereos, vidphones, doohickeys, thingers, whatchamacallits, and much, much more. One of each in stock. Be sure to check out the unbelievable prices on our own line of dandy products. These products, of course, are not on sale. Remember to bring your electronic shop credit card and plan to stay late. You won't believe the deals. Cash not accepted. Credit card required to enter the electronic shop. This gift certificate entitles the holder to one free cosmetic job. Nose, boob, etc. Courtesy of the Real You Surgical Clinic. 30 minutes to a better you. Manufacturer's coupon, number, expiration date. Void where prohibited or restricted by law. Cash value $1.20 for 1 cent.
A pre-approved electronic shop credit card application addressed to the previous occupant. Just needs to be signed, stamped, and mailed. The Scotch guard that Rudy's upholstering service put on my office chairs will stand up to anything. And I ought to know. I love my comfy chair. I just wish it wouldn't be so easy to tip over whenever I got drunk. I bought this table so I wouldn't have to sit on the floor when I used my computer. CrimeLink computer is the only valuable piece of equipment left in the office. By entering suspect information like height, weight, and hair color, I can access the suspect's personal files. This one really isn't art, it's a placemat from Taco Bob's. Spent weeks earning this baby. Best $20 I ever spent. The UI of You was the only place that would accept me. Half the course credit was earned by locating the university. Oh, great. Another incoming message that won't print out. If I don't get a new fax machine, I'll be out of business. Things look pretty slow on the street today. This cabin is where my old successes go to die. Nothing here but nostalgia. Hip-hop English keeps me up on all the slang kids are using today. My phone would work perfectly if it hadn't been disconnected. World War IV. A dark and reactionary vision of the coming century by Rush Limbaugh III. I love murder mysteries. To be a fictional detective, everything would be so much simpler then. The fabulous Dior lamp. I bought it for 77 cents. Toxic Taste is a novel by Lou G. Trundle, the only mutant popular enough to make the New York Times bestseller list. Sylvia, my ex-wife. Whenever I think things can't get any worse, I think about her and how she totally screwed up my life. She's a woman who loves a man, anytime. I'll never forget the day I came home early and caught her with the upholstery man.
Oh, there you are. I just got done with the chair. I'll be sending the bill to your husband.
Oh, Rudy. Let's not think about my husband right now. I was watching you upholstery and you're so big and strong.
Do you really think so?
Well, yes. God, I've only known you for 10 minutes and I feel like I've known you forever. And look at this muscle. Oh. The way you hold me, Tex never held me like this. Oh, kiss me, Rudy, and set my lips on fire.
Okay.
Oh, Tex, honey. I wasn't expecting you home so soon.
Well, duh. Obviously. Now I know why the Roto-Rooter man keeps calling and asking whether we need our plumbing checked. Well, I gotta admit, those chairs look pretty good.
Thanks. Listen, how about I don't charge you on the labor and we call it even?
Fair enough. But from here on out, Rudy, customer servicing doesn't include my wife.
See, honey? I saved you some money again. Aren't you happy?
I married her for better or worse. Unfortunately, it never got any better. Most of these desk drawers haven't been used for so long, I'm afraid to open them. As usual, it's a mess. This is probably the only writing utensil that works in the whole office. One last $10 stamp waits patiently to be licked and mailed. Now all this baby needs is a stamp. I need to run this thing down to the auto post box on the street. The air outside feels thick, like I'm breathing through a pair of dirty gym socks. It's a high radiation day. Most everyone will be staying inside, but I need to hunt for some work. I always like to start the day with the traditional PI breakfast. That hits the spot. The once majestic Chandler Avenue. There's enough radiation in this asphalt to fry an egg on Christmas morning. The ruins of old San Francisco make for a bleak landscape. And there are signs of radioactivity everywhere. Some of this devastation came from the Barney the Dinosaur Museum. No one was too upset when it became one of the first structures to get blasted in the war. Everyone refers to this stuff as Barney rubble. All hell has broken loose since the government stopped requiring products to display those give a hoot don't pollute symbols. This is the spot where Dr. Moulong had his dentist's office. Everyone around here calls it Toothbrush Hill. These posters somehow survived the big war. They're bitter reminders of the past glory of this great city. Louis Laments runs the Brew and Stew, which is a local hangout. This is where Louis throws out the garbage. Street people come from miles around to sample Louis' award-winning leftovers. Brew and Stew has the nicest parking lot in 7 counties. Francesca Lucido makes the spiciest pizza in the city. The only thing spicier than her cooking is her imagination, and right now she seems to have a thing for me. This is the brand new electronic shop outlet, no pun intended. I won't be able to get inside the electronic shop until I get a membership card. On the top floor of this place is where I hang my hat. It's not much, but it's better than, well, it's not much. My trusty 31 lightning bolt speeder. I still regret not getting the sunroof option. This is the proverbial road to nowhere. The garbage in the alley's a real eyesore. Makes it look like I live in a dump. Oh well. I don't know what these garbage cans are used for, but they're the cleanest things on the street. That rickety fire escape leads back to my office. Streetlights here work about half the time, and that's usually during the day. Bijou Theater used to be quite a night spot. It was condemned years ago and could collapse any day. There's no way I'm going in there. The most interesting thing about these movie posters is that someone hasn't stolen them yet. Looks like someone took a pee here. That great old landmark, the Coit Tower, rises high above the skyline. These signs around here haven't been replaced in at least 50 years. I heard this newspaper box got destroyed right after Chelsea opened her newsstand. Coincidence? I like to stand by these, waiting for a glimpse of Rita. These fire hydrants are commonly used by the locals to mark territory in front of their respective business establishments. The Golden Gate Hotel was once known as the Waldorf of the Pacific. Its halls are still sturdy, and the walls have worn well, but there's nobody living inside. The Acme Warehouse is the former Snow White dry cleaning building. Nobody's used this place in a while. Rusty the Clown's novelty shop. Closed down a few months ago after Rusty mysteriously disappeared. The police suspect foul play, but I think he probably just choked to death on his own bad jokes. Chelsea runs a first-rate newsstand. Chelsea's a hot little number. I hear she's a mutant, but it doesn't show. The only weird thing about her is she won't go out with me. That old wooden fence blocks off the alley that runs beside Rook's pawn shop. Surprisingly, the auto post box has no graffiti on it. Maybe people around here are finally starting to respect our government and its fine agencies. The Postal Service has gotten much faster since the stamp price went to $10. I should get my credit card back tomorrow morning. Rook Garner runs this pawn shop. He's a crusty old World War III vet with a face like a raisin and a tongue like a butcher's cleaver. Looks like someone didn't get enough fiber in his breakfast this morning.
What do you want, Murphy?
Is this a bad time for a visit?
That depends on whether you're here to help me or to irritate me.
Well, I'd like to help you, but irritating you sounds like it'd be more fun.
Shut up, Murphy. The last thing I need right now is a yappy-mouthed wise guy.
You know, I'll bet you haven't had enough coffee today either.
Look, Murphy, I've had a bad enough morning without you doing your comic routines.
Sorry, you just look like you could stand to be lightened up a bit. Maybe I should come back and we can discuss it later, say next Halloween.
Hold on a second, Murphy. Maybe I could use your help.
Sounds like you're in the market for a PI.
I might be.
Why don't you tell me what's got you upset?
Let me tell you the whole sordid story.
Okay, Rook. What's the scoop?
Last night someone broke into my pawn shop. I don't usually have anything of great value, but yesterday I gave out a fair amount of cash for an extremely valuable diamond bracelet.
How much is a fair amount of cash?
In this case, $8,000.
I didn't know you kept that much cash.
I don't usually, but I sold a few things earlier, so I had just over $8,000.
Boy, that's a lot of clams, Rook.
Don't you think I know that?
My deductive powers tell me the bracelet's no longer on the premises.
Brilliant work, Murphy.
When you're a seasoned PI, you pick up on these things.
You're a riot, Murphy. Do you mind if I continue?
Sorry, Rook. I guess I shouldn't be joking.
I guess you shouldn't.
The bracelet was pawned by a young girl named Emma Nimpton. She said she hated to hawk a family heirloom, but had no choice. She said she would reclaim the bracelet in a month. Well, since the bracelet was worth 10 times the $8,000 I loaned her, it was a good deal for me.
Did you get any other information from this Emma Nimpton?
She left a phone number.
What was your impression of the girl?
She seemed real nice. I don't know what I'm gonna tell her. I called her this morning, but her line is disconnected.
Have you contacted the police?
No, the police are a waste of time.
Sounds like my vast experience as a PI could come in handy.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt. The police are no help. A mutant is on his own when he gets robbed in this town. I'd appreciate your help. I'm not a rich man, but if you find the bracelet, I'll owe you a few favors, which could come in handy. Come back here and I'll show you where they broke in.
Rook takes me out back and shows me where the burglar broke in. The back window is busted out and the latch is ripped. It's a sloppy job. As I start my investigation, I'm looking for information to enter into my crime link computer back at the office. One thing's for sure, Emma Nimpton won't be one of the suspects' names. Every PI worth his salt knows that's not my name spelled backwards. This building that Rook runs his pawn shop out of is at least 120 years old, making it only slightly younger than Rook. Well, that's the sturdy, worm-eaten back door to Rook's pawn shop. Well, obviously, the window was broken from the outside. I wonder what all these garbage cans are doing around here. Maybe Rook is running a low-rent hostel. Whoever uses these garbage cans is either a terrible shot or is saving them for that special piece of trash. These disgusting piles of trash remind me of Aunt Betty's annual yard sales. Looks like a shoe print is outlined in that sticky pool of something resembling chocolate. Footprints about a size 14. Shard of glass must have come from that broken window. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Looks like whoever broke into Rook's window left one of his hairs behind. Apparently our burglar is a carrot top. An empty bottle of evanescent spring water. For those with a higher class of thirst. These are empty jumbo-sized cans of Camel's chunky chocolate soup. Good. The empty bottles of chocolate syrup lying all around this alley all look like they've been licked clean. Like Rook always says, you can cut corners here and there, but there's nothing like a quality garbage can. Looks like a key of some kind. Every time I see yellow-gray water oozing out of a gutter, I just can't help but thirst for a cup of coffee from the brewing stew. Whatever's on the other end of this power box must be out of commission. The gauge is as dead as my love life. Reminds me of playing hoops when I was younger, in the days before my lower vertebrae turned into petrified rock. I don't usually enjoy piles of garbage, but they do add a lot of character to this alley. Another billboard advertising cosmetic surgery. It's big business these days. Mutants with money will pay anything to look like norms. The soft white light from the street light allows you to read graffiti without the unnecessary eye strain caused by other street lights. This chain link fence doesn't seem to do much except separate Rook's ugly half of the alley from Franny's ugly half of the alley. It's one of those basketballs they used to give away at Weenie World. 10 seconds left. Down by 1. Murphy has the ball. He fakes. He drives. It's a 360. He's fouled. Oh, man. This dumpster smells like 20-year-old mayonnaise, and I ought to know. Whoa. This antique boombox worked. I bet it'd only play the Bee Gees. This old relic probably hasn't worked in years. Hey, there are batteries in here. I wonder if these still work. Tingly tongue. Still got juice. Well, I'll be darned. Except for the filth and stench, the interior isn't much different than the average studio apartment. In fact, it's nicely furnished. Someone's been living here, and I wonder if he saw anything. The slice of heaven has been making pizza on the other side of this wall for so long, the bricks smell faintly of extra cheese. It feels like somebody's watching. Someone really weird. Wow, a recyclable paper can. Finally, a glimmer of ecological responsibility. I didn't know Rook cared. This is where graffiti novices come to practice. After honing their skills, they move on to places where people actually care if you spray paint their walls. Looks like someone's back door opens onto the fire escape. Well, that steep staircase looked really hard to climb. Hey, this door's just painted on. It's rickety wooden fence keeps Rook's Pawn Shop and the Slice of Heaven Pizza Parlor from collapsing into each other. Oh, I would love to see my ex-mother-in-law squeeze through there. Well, this is a section of the Bay City Mirror. It's a weekly newsletter that covers local goings-on written by mutants for mutants. I'd subscribe if they had a comics page.
Burglaries baffle police. The total of inner-city pawn shop burglaries committed over the past 3 weeks now stands at 9. Zippy Cash, located at the corner of Jackson and Maple Streets, was broken into 3 nights ago. Pawn shop owner Urban Robe did not report the crime until this morning, thinking it was simply a practical joke played by his friends. Tragically, this was not the case. Of the 9 burglarized pawn shops, Zippy Cash was only the second not owned by a mutant. There has been some speculation that police are not actively investigating the crimes, since most of the victims are mutants. Mayor Lender, who is up for re-election later this year and will need the mutant vote to retain his position, has publicly called the police onto the carpet. Police Lieutenant McMalden, who is heading the investigation, denies that the police are dragging their feet. What we're dealing with here is some kind of master criminal. He just hasn't left us much of anything to work with. Lieutenant Malden is sure that the burglaries have all been committed by the same person. The MOs, methods of operation, have been almost identical. A girl goes to a pawn shop, hawks a piece of jewelry for a large amount of cash, then the shop is broken into that same night. Lieutenant Malden would not specify, but said that his team of detectives had some evidence and hoped to have some solid leads within the next few days. Body found in Bay. The body of Thaniel Murray, 29, was discovered floating in the San Francisco Bay early yesterday morning. Spotted by passengers on a whale sighting scuttle, the body was recovered by police, then was sent to the city coroner's office for an autopsy. The cause of death has been listed as suicide, though bystanders report that the corpse was remarkably disfigured and contorted. Walt Grimm, a personal injury lawyer, followed the ambulance to the coroner's and reported that a quarantine was initiated not long afterwards. The reason for the quarantine has not been made public. Poet's Corner. This week's poem was sent in by 15-year-old Boppo Wong. Haiku to a tackle. Soft shell tackle mine. What meat art thou concealing? Who cares? It's tasty. Need cash? At Oregon Trail Clinic, we pay up to $50 cash for any and all vital organs. We also pay market rate for arms, legs, and eyeballs. Are you a lefty who's short on rent? Bring in that right arm. Must be removed on site to meet AMA requirements. Our friendly, qualified staff will be happy to sever that limb, and you will walk out moments later with a few extra dollars in your pocket. Hurry in and don't forget to ask about our frequent donor program. Old Jim's Bait Shop, lively crawlers, in an old coffee can of your choice. Senator committed to asylum. Reese's press conference hysterics surprised many. Senator Martin Reese, Republican New Mexico, who had called the press conference, assumedly to announce his intentions to leave politics to join the PGA, erupted into hysterics today. Witnesses reported the senator to have shouted, "Texas is just too fucking big. Run for your lives before it eats us all." Senator Reese, long considered one of the most mentally sound figures on Capitol Hill, had to be restrained and was led away in a makeshift straitjacket. When questioned about Senator Reese's rantings, Representative Lolana Elwich, Democratic Texas, professed complete ignorance. Everyone knows Texas is big, but really? Most people who witnessed the display admitted to being surprised at the senator's behavior, though not everyone. House Speaker Bob Broje, Democratic Maine, commented, "Senator Reese's outburst is hardly shocking to those of us who have worked with him. We knew all along he was a whacked-out, thumb-sucking piece of shit." Senator Reese will be examined tomorrow by psychiatrists, who are confident that a complete recovery can be made, despite the senator's many years in Congress. Editorial: Why the Crusade Must Be Stopped, Part 2 of 5, by Lou G. Trundle. In the years since World War III, we have seen a growing form of discrimination which has come into full, malevolent bloom. Thankfully, we're not talking about racial or sexual bias, both of which are no longer the blights on society they once were. The social disease that afflicts us now is genetic discrimination. There are, in this world, evil forces that exist with this specific purpose of separating the genetically unchallenged from the rest of the population. This eugenics movement, the classifying of humans by their genetic quality, has been around since the late 1800s. But in those days, humans were already classified by skin color and gender. Several significant movements in history have attempted to exterminate an entire race, and I believe that we are witnessing yet another. The crusade for genetic purity is spearheading this dark movement. Reverend Shepherd, in the guise of a placid, benevolent teacher, is in reality a hate-monger. His words, softly spoken, plant the seeds of hate between those with genetic flaws and those without. And now, the crusade has trumpeted the arrival of the Moonchild, the so-called refuge of the pure. Supposedly a religious retreat where the faithful crusaders go to take part in spiritual ceremonies, it is in reality a symbol of divisiveness. A jewel in the heavens where only few may go, the rest excluded by a condition they did not ask for and cannot change. When will each and every inhabitant on this earth open his or her eyes? I hope for the day when will we all be able to look upon each other as human beings and not as man or woman, black or white, mutant or norm. To paraphrase Shakespeare, I am a mutant. Hath not a mutant hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions, fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you poison us, do we not die? Grateful Dead Tour. The Grateful Dead, in its third incarnation, have announced plans for a resurrection tour to begin next week in Sacramento, California, and end up in Lazarus, Pasadena. The tour is scheduled to run for 3 years, during which the band will play 1,093 shows. Accordion player Geraldo Rodriguez says the band is excited to get back on the road after a layoff of a week and a half. We were due for a rest after our last world tour, but by Thursday we were all getting a little antsy. Future plans include a new album, a movie filmed on tour, and a possible benefit concert put on in conjunction with the Rolling Stones. Art and Soul. Albie Thuxbury. Art is not just dead in the Bay Area, its rotting corpse is stinking up the place. The latest excuse for an art exhibit was unveiled at the Ink and Oils Emporium, or the Stink and Spoils Emporium as I am wont to call it. This pathetic showing by an alleged artist who calls himself Logo was the most hideous spectacle of the season. At least his Logo character has an inkling of intelligence. If I dared to pass off such putrid trash as art, I wouldn't use my real name either. The most striking thing about the presentation was the artist's hairdo, which closely resembled a dust mop used to soak up an oil spill, then dry to a crisp under a sun lamp. On the lighter side, Kay Winthrop's Black Tie Art Appreciation fundraiser was not as nearly as unbearable as I feared it would be. The featured artwork, as always, was despicable. But for once, the hors d'oeuvres didn't make me vomit. The champagne was not vintage, but not the cat pee of previous years. All in all, not a complete waste of an evening. Until next week, remember, life without art is just life. Police officers acquitted of assault in civil suit. Angry protests were staged today outside the 5th Precinct Courthouse when 2 Norm police officers, Joey Harris and Dean Adler, both incidentally members of the Crusade for Genetic Purity, were found not guilty of assault and battery on a private citizen. Emo Dooley, an unemployed homeless mutant, had brought a civil suit against the officers, saying they had randomly picked him out of a group of stragglers and beaten him senseless. This is the 4th civil suit brought against Norm members of the SFPD this year alone. Each trial has ended in an acquittal. Undoubtedly, this has given police an added sense of immunity, leading to more mutant accusations of civil rights violations. The 2 mutant 10 Norm jury deliberated for only 3 minutes, 18 seconds before presenting the not guilty verdict. Juror Laney Fox explained the reason for the quick decision made by the jury. The prosecution never convinced us that Mr. Dooley has not always looked the way he does. The ACLU announced that it is planning to appeal.
Chelsea Bando's the kind that could hold her own with anyone, but she has a way of turning my knees to jelly. She's a mutant just like everyone else in this part of town, but she's a real beauty.
Well, hello, stranger.
Hey, sweetheart. Know anyone who could use my services today?
Well, I guess that depends on which services we're talking about, big guy.
So why don't you join me for a drink and I'll go over all the great services I have to offer.
Gee, Tex, that kind of talk could get you into trouble. But I don't drink with customers.
Well, not even with the hottest PI in town?
Well, maybe. But I hear he's busy.
It's painful the way you toy with my emotions, Chelsea.
Oh, please, Tex.
You know, I am a certified love mechanic. You ought to drop by my service station sometime. I'll make you a drink and give you a tune-up. I'd be happy to throw in a chili dog with that drink.
Well, an offer like that, oh, that's hard to refuse. But no thanks.
Chelsea, you're breaking my heart.
Why? Because I've got a steady job?
You're a riot, Chelsea. You ought to be doing stand-up.
No. Look, I do enough stand-up work right here.
It's just you're so beautiful it makes me ache.
So, is there something I can do for you?
Tell me, gorgeous, has the new True Detective come in yet?
Yeah, but you gotta pay for it this time. Hey, when you finish a magazine, it is in no condition to sell.
Well, think of it this way, Chelsea. Reading True Detective makes me a better PI, and good PIs are hard to find.
Well, you know, Tex, you just might have a chance to show how good a PI you are. Had you heard that Rook's place got robbed?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I came by to see what you know about it.
Rook acts like a tough guy, but he's a softie. Just don't tell him that to his face. Oh, you know me, Tex. I'm just making ends meet. I love Louis, but his friendliness doesn't fool me. He's a sharp one. He knows everything that's going on in this neighborhood. Franny's a live wire. Either she or Sal is gonna do time for killing the other one. I have never seen a couple fight like they do. Sal's a handful. He's a nice guy, but I don't know, I feel kind of naked when he gives me the eye. Luckily, Ardo seems to like me. I mean, if I were on his bad side, I'd be tempted to relocate. He could crush a Subaru with one hand. Oh, I remember Rusty. He had a kid show on TV when I was young. I hated the show. That clown makeup always scared me. Yeah, you know, I remember Rook told me about the burglary. You know, I remember a stranger hanging around the past couple of days. It might be a dead end, but I seem to remember that the guy had these bright green eyes and a tattoo of an anchor on his arm. The crusade is big. I mean, much bigger than most people know. They have operatives all over, and then these huge sections of the norm population are joining. Well, they say it's a religion, but then they encourage the members to be violent and prejudiced towards others.
I haven't seen Mac Malden since the Martian Memorandum case. I remember him as a surly, incompetent, fat-nosed cop. As I step into his office, I can see he's changed. His nose is even bigger.
Well, if it isn't Tex Murphy. I figured you'd be dead by now.
I could say the same about you. When's the last time you had your cholesterol checked?
Still the wise guy, eh, Murphy? It was great to see you. Now get lost!
Oh, come on. Remember the Martian Memorandum case? Hey, we made a swell team.
Yeah, those were the days. I don't get cases like that anymore. Things are harder now. The mayor's office is all over me again. You heard about the string of pawn shop robberies? We have no suspects, and I'm catching the heat for it.
I'll bet you could use an extra strength laxative and a nap.
Yeah? And you could use a punch in the chops!
What you need is San Francisco's best detective on the case.
Yeah? I asked him to help out, but he's busy. Now shove off!
Sounds like we might be looking for the same burglar. Let's compare notes, old buddy.
No chance, Murphy. I don't need you getting in my way. Go play detective somewhere else.
So you and your crack team of detectives have no leads?
Of course we have leads, you pot. We know he's a norm, Caucasian, and has AB negative blood. That narrows down our list of suspects to about 1 million. Now get out of my hair, I got work to do.
Oh, looks like Mr. Bum is home for the evening.
Yeah, what do you want?
I'm looking for some information regarding the robbery at Rook's last night.
Well, there are thieves everywhere. Someone just stole my radio. Sure, it was busted, but it was all I had. Man, who would stoop to robbing the homeless?
Whoever it was must be a real jerk.
Boy, you said it.
Is this your permanent address?
Actually, I have a summer home in Vale, but this spot keeps me in touch with the common people.
Speaking of being in touch, you didn't put the squeeze on the pawn shop, did you?
Are you implying that I had something to do with that robbery, punk?
Oh no, I'm sure you're a model citizen, and someone as successful as you would never rob a pawn shop.
The only thing I've done time for is chopping a nosy PI into little pieces with an axe. Now what is it you want?
Let's see, how about world peace, a new speeder, and a decent haircut? Is that really so much to ask?
You're quite a comedian.
Good guess. Actually, I'm a gumshoe and I'm looking for some information.
That's what I figured. You've got a fedora, a trench coat, and you look broke.
You've got quite an eye for detail.
Well, I also figured there'd be a detective or two asking around about the robbery.
And you probably didn't see anything but pink elephants last night, did you?
No, but I did see a unicorn and a couple wood sprites. And by the way, this is chocolate syrup. Now take a hike, greaseball.
The Brew and Stew is run by Louis Lamintz, a bloated mutant with a heart bigger than his waistline. Everyone comes to Louis's cafe. So does all the street talk. If something's going on, Louis knows about it.
What can I do for you, Mike?
How about a pitcher of beer and the love of a good woman, Louis?
Can't help you with the woman, Mike. No problem with the beer, though. Put it on your tab?
Sure. I'll take a beer over women anyway. It's easier to stomach.
Spoken like a true philosopher, Mike. A cold beer is truly one of life's simpler pleasures.
Why not? How many $1,000 do I owe you anyway?
Don't worry about it, Mike. I know you're good for it.
Thanks, Louis. I should have some work soon, then I'll be able to pay my tab off first thing. So how are things here at the world-famous Brew and Stew?
Yeah, things are a little slow, but I'm getting by. Last week I had to lay off half my kitchen help. Having to lay off some of my kitchen help hurt my pride more than anything. Times are pretty tough, but it could be worse.
Speak for yourself. I've had less work than a 300-pound belly dancer.
Actually, Mike, I once knew a 300-pound belly dancer who was in great demand. She had real pretty eyes.
Oh, you're a true optimist, Louis.
Remember, Mike, the only thing worse than an old optimist like me is a young pessimist.
Well, Louis, you're the grapevine around here. Anything interesting going on?
Well, I've been hearing a lot about this crusade for genetic purity movement. It's got a lot of tension stirred up between mutants and norms. Mutants have been protesting downtown and there's been some violence.
You don't know anyone who's in need of a highly skilled PI, do you?
Sorry, Mike. Only bumbling, half-witted PIs are in demand around here. Rook's an ornery old cuss, but me and him are old buddies. We fought in the big war together. He's one person you can trust in these troubled times. Chelsea acts tough, but she has to be with all the scum around. And she's as smart as she is pretty. She knows a lot of what goes on in the shadows of this city. Granny's a fireball. She and Sal opened the pizza place 7 to 8 years ago, and they've been fighting ever since. Sal's a big guy with an appetite for food, wine, and women. He comes by here most every day for lunch. Bardo comes in now and again. Usually orders a couple of steaks and a chocolate milk. His temper's as short as he is tall. And he's only got one oar in the water. A bad combination. He was a strange one. He had a show on TV for a while. Got pretty popular. Then he quit the show and went into business. He opened up a shop right up the street from here. I guess he wasn't a very good businessman. The shop went out of business within a couple of months. Then Rusty just disappeared. I heard he'd made some enemies in the novelty trade. Rook told me about the bracelet, but I don't know anything more about it. Rook's been robbed before, but he's never had anything really valuable taken. This is gonna set Rook back for a while. Too bad the cops have turned a blind eye. Ever since the crusade started up, the relations between norms and mutants has gone to pot. I've had rocks thrown through my windows, graffiti sprayed on the bricks outside. There's not much I can do, though. He's one of the few norms besides you who's eaten here. Seems like a typical cop. A little dim, and not too concerned about what happens in the mutant sections of town.
You want to try a slice of my chocolate pie? I can get you a piece to go if you like.
Oh no, not you again. Look, I'll warn you right now, I'm almost out of chocolate syrup and I'm not in a good mood.
Look, I'll do you a favor. If you're free Thursday, I'll take you to the Chocoholics Anonymous meeting.
Spare me the insults, tough guy. If you got something to say, spill it.
I tried to forget you, I really did. But I had to come back and see what I could do to help you get back on your feet.
God, you are a pest! This isn't a good time for a social call, punk. If I don't get her fixed soon, I'll go insane! Don't hate me for so lot to do.
What do you mean, go insane? Seems to me you're already there.
How do you get lost before you eat that chocolate-colored hat of yours?
I don't make a practice of helping out addicts, but I think I've got something that will ease the pain.
Don't hold out on me, man. If you've got something, let's have it. Praise heaven, you've brought the ambrosia of life. Ask me anything you want. Rook, he leaves me alone. Can't ask for more than that. I think Chelsea used to fancy me, till she found out my only true love was chocolate. Damn near broke her heart. Nice guy, good cook. Every National Feed a Bum Day, he brings me one of his award-winning chocolate pies. Ugh. I don't have much to do with her. They don't serve anything with chocolate in it at the pizza joint. The only time I ever see Sal is when he gets drunk and comes by to pick a fight. Then I kick his butt and send him on his way. That big goon, he used to hassle me until I shared a quart of chocolate syrup with him. Now he lets me alone. I saw someone prowling around the back of the pawn shop last night. It was so dark, I didn't get a good look at him, but I could tell he was huge. Probably 6'3" or 6'4", about 300 pounds. I stay out of politics, especially bad politics.
It's all locked up. The only way I'm gonna get inside is by using my innate cleverness or ingenuity, or maybe a key. Looks like a welcome mat, but when it's on the doorstep of a novelty shop, you can never be too careful. Whoa, a key. Rusty, the clown from hell. No wonder this place went under. Probably scared off all his business. Just a couple of empty old packing boxes. Ooh, a small nozzle. Probably a helium dispenser used for filling balloons. Looks like some kind of in-house television.
Hi, kids, it's me, Inspector Burns. And as we all know, fire can be our friend, but fire can be our foe. So many times, fires start so carelessly. And what can fires do? Fires burn you. Never, never light matches. No, no, no. Fire is dangerous. Fire made me look like this. Do you want to look like me? No, no, no. Don't look like Inspector Burns. Don't play with matches.
Inspector Burns. I always thought he was a freak, but the kids love him. So does Arda. If I can unlock this door, I may be able to go where only clowns have gone before.
Maybe this key fits in that employees only door. Why in the world would Rusty keep a barrel of toxic acid? Oh, lordy. Well, this is where Rusty ended up. What a way to go. I'm willing to bet he didn't crawl in here on his own. Someone murdered him. Posters in here tell you more than you'd ever care to know about film processing. A plastic suction dart can be formidable ammo in the hands of an expert like myself. The sink must have been used for developing photos. Not much use for it now since all the developing equipment's gone. A balloon strategically located near the water faucet. Looks like Rusty didn't go down without a fight. Portable helium. Just undo the knot and breathe deeply. Cool. Plastic dart crossbow. It'll make a nice addition to my non-violent weapon collection. Looks like my 4th grade teacher. Well, this must be Mr. Grimm. He's a reaper. Oh, this is a scary mask. Why, it's Mr. Sloppy Lasagna Eater. I'll bet this is a real popular mask. Wow, the limited edition Daryl Hannah wig and mannequin set. These weapons are all made of plastic. All bark and no bite. They're completely useless. Whoa! For a second there, I thought someone had decapitated Inspector Burns and left his head on the floor. What a great mask. Well, I have no idea what I'd ever do with a stacking ring, but what the heck. I had a set of stacking rings just like this one when I was a little PI. Even has a small hole in it, just like the rings I had. Man, fill one of these with water and you can chuck it a mile. Apparently, Rusty was very fond of empty cardboard boxes. It's a Rusty Clown life-size doll. Wow. It's a dead ringer for... Oh, no pun intended. I can't get over how lifelike this doll is. If it didn't have a hook on the back and a battery compartment, I'd swear it was Rusty himself. This wig probably sells well during the Bay Area Yodeling Festival. A mask of the king? That's blasphemy! This wig must be quite popular with shy people. Whoa, this wig would even make someone like me look glamorous.
The whereabouts of Mick Flem are unknown at this time. The SFPD are interested in questioning him about the recent disappearance and suspected murder of Rusty Clown. It is likely that Flem and Rusty were working together when Flem was arrested for illegally importing Asian novelty items. Flem may have murdered Rusty to get revenge for letting him take the fall. This theory has been supported by a street informant, Big Nariz, who claims to have seen Flem within the past few weeks. Nariz reports seeing Flem in an extremely intoxicated state, apparently hallucinating, saying that Rusty Clown's ghost was out to get him.
Hi, Tex. How's the investigation going? Is there anything I can do to help? Oh yeah, I know Beak. If you want to talk to him, you might try hanging out around Coit Tower.
Coit Tower was once a majestic landmark. The wiener stand on the patio at the base of Coit Tower made the best chili dog in town. I walk up the steps to Coit Tower and spot a small figure lurking in the shadows. In the half light, I can see only the person's profile, but it's definitely Beak. As I walk towards him, he glances around, then approaches me warily, like a vegetarian sizing up a pot pie.
What are you staring at?
You must be Beak Norris.
Huh? Yeah, that's me. But I ain't smelled you before. Who are you?
Pardon my staring, but that is a truly impressive schnoz you've got.
Come on, don't make fun, huh? What do you want? Who are you?
My name's Tex Murphy. I'm a PI and I'm trying to solve a burglary.
I don't like PIs. You're always nosing into everyone's business.
Gee whiz, Beak, what could you possibly have against nosing around?
I think I smell a rat. Either you make an offer or hit the road.
Maybe I've got something here in my coat you could really use.
Hey, you got some peanuts, don't you? I'd smell salty peanuts.
I went to the circus last week and put some peanuts in my pocket, but they're all gone now, Beak.
Well, if you ain't got salty peanuts, what have you got to trade for info? Okay, I can use this. My nose has started sagging lately. Makes it hard to breathe. Now, what kind of info you looking for, Chelsea. Smart girl and a real looker to boot. She's got a cute little nose. She runs that pizza place with her husband, Sal. I don't know much about her. A true Italian nose, though. He lets his wife run the pizza joint. I don't know what he does. Though I've heard some things about who he does. You can tell he drinks a lot by that snaz of his. I know a little about him. Runs a pretty successful PI business. I think he's dead, and I'll bet Mick Flam had something to do with it. Word was the two of them were smuggling illegal novelty items from Hong Kong, and Rusty crossed Flam. Ever since Rusty disappeared, Flam has had a terrible fear of clowns. Bozophobia. I once saw Flem pretty drunk, and he said he had nightmares of Rusty's ghost coming back to haunt him from the grave. He was completely terrified. The bracelet is the bait Mick Flem uses for the pawn shop robberies. Rook's pawn shop was robbed by a two-bit crook named Mick Flem. He and his girlfriend have knocked off half a dozen pawn shops over the past month. The girl goes to a pawn shop and hawks a bracelet for a decent amount of cash. Then Flam breaks into the pawn shop and steals the bracelet, along with anything else he finds. Big trouble. It's causing mutant blood to boil, and I don't want to be around when the bullets start flying. Anyone with a hunker like that can't be all bad. Malden's no rocket scientist, but I hear that he's not on the take. I've helped him out a couple of times, so he leaves me alone. McFlam's rap sheet would take a day to read. He's a fat scum, and he's an idiot to boot. That's why he's always getting caught. He's been busted for burglary, mail fraud, arson, you name it. Everyone knows he operates out of the Snow White warehouse, but don't tell him. Oh, I'm nobody. I just try to keep my nose clean and my ear to the ground. Oh, wait a minute, or was that vice versa?
Flem is working out of this warehouse. It looks like he got careless. The door's unlocked. If this is Mick Flem's hangout, he'll probably be back soon. I better try and set some sort of trap for him. The majestic view of the warehouse scenery would make the landing a perfect picnic spot. Ooh, this barrel smells like it shouldn't be opened. I don't think I'll move any of these pallets because they look like big slivers waiting to happen. Well, this is actually a storage compartment. Looks like it requires a special combination key. This table and the bottle on it aren't dusty like everything else here. Someone's used this recently. Yummy! A bottle of turnip schnapps. I'll bet it's got a real kick. I'll have to remember this stack of 2x4s when I get around to building some furniture for my office. These large doors look like they haven't been opened since my last date. This business sign should be on the outside of the building. No wonder they went out of business. These stairs look just sturdy enough to climb. This corrugated metal reminds me of my favorite snack, sun chips. Those windows are practically begging to have rocks thrown through them. Crate smells like laundry soap. Crate in front on the floor seems to be partially open. Apparently some fireman dropped off his uniform to be cleaned and forgot to pick it up. It's supposed to be the power box for the warehouse, and it's locked. This key must fit a lock around here somewhere. That hook looks pretty heavy duty.
Hopefully this isn't a self-destruct lever. The sound is coming from up on the landing. Looks like the on-off switch controls a pulley hook. It's running back and forth along a track. The heavy footsteps I hear must be Phlegm. Luckily, my rusty trap's all set. I'll need to find a hiding place as close as possible to the pulley control box. When Phlegm least expects it, I'll throw the pulley lever and bring Rusty back from the dead. Damn, I'm good. This has to be Rook's bracelet. Mick ran off without his keys. I bet at least one of these would come in handy. A locked box within a locked box. It must contain something worth having. The strong box is too sturdy to break open. I'll need the key. What do we have here? Unless I miss my guess, this is jade. That's good quality, too.
I'm telling you, it's impossible. It can't be done. I've tried everything.
The prophecy is very clear. We can't go on until this step is completed. Surely your unique skills give you opportunity.
My ability has gotten us nowhere. Capricorn got there before me. They're always one step ahead of me. It's like they can read my mind.
We can't let them stop us. Maybe we can use our skills on someone else. I've made inquiries, and if he hasn't gotten himself killed, maybe he's just what we need. Murphy. Tex Murphy.